No joke, once you get this whole bridal chamber thing, the Archons, the hidden weapon, the Gospel of Philip, smuggled to us through time. So the whole point of the bridal chamber ritual is to fuse together what's been separated so that you become divine. So before we swing open the doors to this mysterious bridal chamber, we have to understand one core concept, and that is separation. Because the Archons rulebook has a 1-2 punch to keep us in ignorance. First, deceive us. We covered that. Lies, propaganda, calling evil good, and then divide us. Divide us from what? Everything. From each other, our true nature, from the divine source. Divide and conquer is the oldest strategy in the book, and the Archons wield it on a cosmic level. According to the Gospel of Philip, this goes all the way back to Adam and Eve. When Eve was in Adam, death didn't exist. When she separated from him, death came into being. If he enters again and receives it for himself, there will be no death. See, according to the Gnostics, Adam and Eve were actually originally a single divine being that were more powerful than the Archons. The Gospel of Philip says, when he was united, he had words that were better than the powers, and they envied him. The Archons were jealous of that power, so they split them in two, into male and female. But this split isn't literal, it's metaphorical, because that split, it happened in you and me, all of us. Think of your psyche. The story of Adam and Eve isn't about literal people. Adam and Eve are left brain and right brain, conscious and unconscious, ego and shadow. But think about what this implies. It means that humans have the potential to become far more powerful than the Archons themselves. But that split was never healed, and so we've been fighting and in slavery ever since. The Gospel of Philip states that Adam and Eve got separated because she didn't unite with him in the bridal chamber. So hang on, we're gonna decode the bridal chamber in just a minute, but note what this is saying here. There was a chance for them to stay together, whole, immortal, beyond the control of the Archons, but it didn't happen. The Archons saw to that. This division isn't about ancient history. It's happening inside you right now. Every time you feel divided against yourself, torn between mind and heart, battling your own inner demons, that's the separation. The Archons want to keep you fragmented. And why do they care? Because as long as you're not whole, you're not powerful. A divided person is suggestible, anxious, compliant, easy to manipulate, just the way the Archons like it. The ultimate separation the Archons impose is between you and the divine. They want you thinking that God is some distant old man in the sky and you're a wretched worm on earth. Never that the divine spark is actually within you. But deep down, in you and me, in every person, there's this hunger for wholeness and truth that all the Archons' BS can't ever completely snuff out. And that hunger is exactly what drove some brave soul 2,000 years ago to seek deeper knowledge, and they discovered the key to liberation. They encoded that discovery in one of the most mysterious rituals of early Christianity, and that's, of course, the bridal chamber. And the Archons absolutely loathe this ritual because it basically makes you a no-fly zone for their meddling. How? By making you whole again, by undoing that original separation, reuniting what was divided, whether you call that male, female, light, dark, conscious, unconscious, or even human divine. It's all the same idea. Bring the two back into one, and the Archons can't touch you. And I'm here to show you why this ritual was considered so dangerous. So here we go. We're gonna crash a 2,000-year-old secret ceremony. So this ritual wasn't some cute little ceremony with candles and harp music. This was designed to turn you into Christ. The Gospel of Philip says, the Lord did everything in a mystery, a baptism and a chrism and a Eucharist and a redemption and a bridal chamber. See that? The bridal chamber is listed right alongside baptism and all the rest, but it's shrouded in mystery. It's the culmination of the whole spiritual journey. It's like the boss level the church never wanted you to unlock. The text even says, the Holy of the Holies is the bridal chamber. All right, so what happens when you enter the bridal chamber, spiritually speaking? According to this text, you basically put on a suit of spiritual light that makes you invisible to demonic forces. No joke. The powers can't see those who have put on the perfect light, and they can't bind them, but one will put on that light in the mystery of the union. It's basically like you exit the Matrix's radar. You become Neo, phasing out of the agent's sight. To the Archons, you effectively don't exist as a target anymore. The bridal chamber is kind of like a spiritual superglue for soul and spirit that broke in two. The Gospel of Philip says that Jesus came to teach us this secret. Christ came to repair the separation that existed since the beginning by uniting the the two again. He'll give life to those who died as a result of the separation by uniting them. This is the mission, not sin management, not behavior policing, not sit down and sing hymns until you die. This is about restoration, integration, becoming whole. Jesus even says it. I came to make the below like the above and the outside like the inside and unite them into place. All right, so what's going on here? Despite its name, the bridal chamber isn't about just getting married or having sex. Sorry to disappoint. I know there's a lot of tantric orgy conspiracy theorists out there. Now, sure, the language comes from sexual imagery with a bride and a bridegroom and their union, but it's symbolic. The bridal chamber is an inner marriage, the unification of two parts of yourself that have been torn apart. In plain terms, it's the reunification of your soul with your spirit. It's the integration of all your opposites into a whole, holy being. The Gospel of Philip says, now the wife unites with her husband in the bridal chamber, and those who have united in the bridal chamber won't be separated any longer. Okay, so seriously here, don't get hung up on the terms husband and wife. It's not about literal hetero matrimony. This is about a permanent spiritual unity. And this is the Gnostic idea of salvation, not avoiding hell or getting a halo, but becoming integrated and thus immortal in essence. Once you're whole, you basically hack the system. So yeah, it has a lot of sexual symbolism, but the real union is happening within the individual. Remember, this is not literal. The Gospel of Philip beautifully explains why truth comes cloaked in symbolic forms like this. Truth doesn't step into the world naked, but it came in types and images. It, the world, won't receive it any other way. So in other words, truth is shrouded in symbols, stories, and metaphors. And early Christians, like the Valentinians, taught that each person has a male and female counterpart, sometimes spoken of as your angel or your syzygy, a Greek word for paired companion. Some even describe the bridal chamber as finding and marrying your angel, basically uniting your earthly self with your heavenly self. It's like spiritual twin flames, except the twin is literally the rest of your own complete soul. The Archons wanted us divided internally against ourselves and externally against each other. Male versus female, body versus soul, human versus divine, you name it. In fact, the Gospel of Philip says that evil spirits will enter those who are divided. It says, the impure spirits take male and female forms. When the foolish females see a male sitting alone, they jump on him, play with him, and defile him. In the same way, when the foolish males see a beautiful female sitting alone, they seduce and coerce her, wanting to defile her. So what this is basically saying is that if you are missing your inner feminine or inner masculine, there's an empty space for evil spirits to fill. So how do you avoid this possession by evil spirits? The Gospel of Philip has the answer. No one will be able to escape being bound by them without receiving a male power and a female one, the groom and the bride, in the image of the bridal chamber. If they see the husband and his wife sitting together, the females can't go inside the husband, nor the males inside the wife. That's what it's like when the image unites with the angel. No one will be able to dare to go inside the male or the female. In other words, these dark forces prey on people who are spiritually single, that is, not united with their other half. But if you do achieve inner union, inner marriage, you basically put up a no vacancy sign for demon roommates. In simple terms, if you haven't integrated your inner masculine and feminine, your image and your angel, your conscious and unconscious, however you frame it, you're fair game for these parasitic entities. But if you have integrated those aspects of yourself and become whole, well then there's no room for them to enter. You're basically swiping left on the Archons. Okay, now if this is sounding crazy, remember, this isn't just ancient superstition. I want you to think about it psychologically. The parts of us that we repress become entry points for all kinds of fears, addictions, and manipulations. But if you integrate those parts, suddenly all the hooks fall off. So the bridal chamber isn't a physical room or a literal honeymoon. It's a state of consciousness and being where you realize your wholeness. So don't get hung up on literal gender here. The male-female polarity, it's just a metaphor for duality. If the Gospel of Philip were written today, it might say integrate your inner opposites instead of receive the male and female power. The underlying concept is beyond physical sex or gender binaries. It's about unity on a soul level. And why is this important? Okay, well, look around. Everyone's obsessed with gender right now. Splitting, labeling, policing, fighting over categories like it's a sport. But whether they know it or not, they're spreading archonic propaganda, because this division isn't just social, it's spiritual. The obsession with slicing everything into either or is the exact same mentality the Archons use to keep us fragmented. And while the bridal chamber isn't literally about gender, you can see the ripple effect of that original separation playing out in real time. Turns out, arguing over bathrooms is just archonic spiritual warfare. Seriously, don't fall for the bullshit, because we're all divine regardless of gender. Now you might be wondering, did Jesus teach this bridal chamber stuff? Was he walking around talking about sacred unions and inner femininity? Well, according to the Valentinians, yeah, he was. But in code. They saw Jesus himself as having performed a kind of bridal chamber union with none other than Mary Magdalene. Okay, now buckle up, because this is the part the patriarchal church worked overtime to erase. And if things are starting to fall into place for you, if ideas are clicking, if you're starting to see through the lies, you're not alone, because you're part of something massive. We're making enlightenment go viral right here, right now, turning everything the church tried to hide into something that millions can find with just one click. This ancient forbidden knowledge is not buried underground anymore. It's right here on YouTube. This isn't a channel, it's a mental revolution. So if you're ready to join the rebellion against spiritual ignorance, like, subscribe, and share this with someone that's brave enough to hear the truth.